It doesn't even have a mint mark. It's the 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin hiding in plain sight, quietly changing the lives of those lucky enough to recognize its secret. Now, here's where the mystery begins. The year 2005 seemed pretty normal for the U.S. Mint. Billions of Lincoln pennies rolled out, from Denver, from Philadelphia, all stamped with those tiny mint marks we collectors know by heart. But a few slipped through the cracks, missing something crucial, the mint mark. At first, nobody noticed. But when sharp-eyed collectors started spotting slight variations in color, texture, and strike, whispers began to spread through the coin community. Could this be a modern rarity? Imagine being one of those people, flipping through your change late at night, the room quiet except for the faint clink of coins, and suddenly realizing what's in your hand isn't just copper-plated zinc. It's a key to fortune. A penny that defied the minting process, escaped detection, and ended up in circulation like a silent lottery ticket waiting for discovery. Now, before we go any further, let's reset for a moment. Picture your coin jar at home, the one you haven't touched in years. It's dusty, maybe half full. You've dumped coins there for a decade. Inside that jar could be your million-dollar moment. Because identifying this penny is not impossible. It takes patience, a keen eye, and just a little bit of knowledge. Let's break it down. The 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny looks deceptively simple. Abraham Lincoln's familiar face on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But the secret lies in its details. First, look for the absence of a mint mark under the date 2005. Usually, a small D or P indicates Denver or Philadelphia. But the rarest of the rare 2005 pennies have no mint mark at all, a sign that something went wrong during production. But that's not the only clue. Collectors have noticed subtle die variations, slightly doubled letters in Liberty, or a faint doubling on In God We Trust. Under magnification, these tiny differences separate a million-dollar coin from pocket change. The surface also tells a story. Many of these rare pennies show sharper rim edges, suggesting an early die state, when the press was still fresh and crisp. And then there's the weight test. Most 2005 Lincoln pennies are zinc-based and weigh about 2.5 grams. But a few, the ultra-rare ones, were accidentally struck on older bronze planchets, leftovers from decades earlier. Those weigh about 3.1 grams. That's your first big signal. So grab a scale, check your coins, and if you find one that tips the balance even slightly, don't ignore it. Now, let's pause again. Think about this. Millions of Americans spend pennies every day without realizing they might be holding a piece of numismatic history. People walk past fortune all the time because they don't know what to look for. The 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny teaches a simple but powerful truth. Wealth can hide in the most ordinary places. Here's the twist most people don't know. Back in 2005, when the U.S. Mint was upgrading equipment, some blanks intended for testing and calibration slipped into the main production line. Those blanks weren't supposed to be used, and when they were struck without mint marks, they quietly entered circulation. A handful of collectors who found them sent them off for grading, and the results shocked everyone. Perfect strikes, unmarked, and confirmed authentic. Their value skyrocketed from 1 cent to hundreds of thousands. And today, the finest known example is valued around $1.4 million. Imagine how that feels. One moment you're hunting for spare change for a vending machine, and the next, you're holding something that could buy a house, pay off debts, or fund your retirement. That's why this story isn't just about a coin. It's about awareness, about second chances hiding in plain sight. Every collector I've ever spoken to remembers their first big find. That rush of adrenaline, that heartbeat moment when you realize what you're holding isn't ordinary. For some, it's a silver dime or a double die penny. But for a few lucky ones, it's the 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny. The discovery that turns a lifetime of curiosity into a once-in-a-lifetime fortune. Let's reset again, because this is the part where most people slip up. If you find a 2005 penny with no mint mark, don't clean it, don't polish it, and definitely don't try to shine it up. Cleaning damages the coin's surface and destroys collector value. Instead, handle it by the edges, keep it in a soft holder or plastic flip, and get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. These certification companies verify authenticity and assign grades. And the higher the grade, the higher the value. Collectors pay attention to grades like MS-67 or MS-68 for these coins. Pristine, nearly flawless examples that shine like the day they left the mint. Those are the coins that fetch the biggest numbers, and the few known examples that reached the $1 million mark did exactly that. Graded at top mint state condition, preserved almost perfectly, but even circulated examples have sold for thousands. And that's the beauty of this hobby. Even if your coin isn't flawless, it could still be life-changing. Now imagine the stories these coins could tell. A penny struck without a mint mark, somehow escaping quality control, traveling through decades of pockets, drawers, and cash registers, only to end up in your hands. It's not just a piece of metal. It's history, luck, and mystery rolled into one. And here's what makes it even more fascinating. Collectors believe there are still a few undiscovered examples out there. Somewhere in circulation, hiding in jars, forgotten in old coin rolls, resting quietly in dresser drawers. Maybe yours. So next time you're counting coins for the parking meter or emptying your wallet at night, take a moment. Look closely at your 2005 pennies. Because one of them, one tiny coin that everyone else overlooked, might be the key to your $1 million moment. People often ask me, what's the best part of coin collecting? And I always say this, it's not just about the money. It's the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the possibility that your next find could rewrite your life story. That's the magic of numismatics. So tonight, maybe after watching this video, go dig through your old change. Pull out that dusty jar, that forgotten coin roll, that coffee can in the garage, because you never know what you'll find until you look. And if you're lucky, if fate decides it's your turn, that 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny might just be sitting there, waiting patiently for you to notice. Imagine holding a single penny, a coin so ordinary it's been passed from hand to hand for decades. And yet, that same coin could be worth $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 1990 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, quietly sitting in change jars across America, has shocked collectors and even dealers with its staggering value. Now, before you rush to your piggy bank, let me tell you, this isn't your everyday penny. There's a story buried beneath its copper surface. A mystery that started in the U.S. Mint over 3 decades ago. In 1990, something unusual happened. A few Lincoln pennies were struck without the P mint mark that was supposed to be placed on all Philadelphia minted coins. It was an error, one that should have never left the mint. But somehow it did. And today, those mistakes are making millionaires. Think about it. An error so small that most people would never notice. Just one missing letter, but it changed everything. Imagine the worker who minted that coin, unaware that a slight oversight would one day create one of the most valuable modern pennies in existence. These coins slipped into circulation like ghosts, unnoticed, blending in with billions of others. And that's what makes them so thrilling, because one of them could still be hiding in plain sight. Picture this. You're sorting through an old jar of coins, maybe from your parents or grandparents. You see the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, the words, "In God we trust," liberty, and the date 1990. Everything seems normal until you notice something's missing. No tiny P below the date. Your heart skips a beat. Collectors have gone wild over these coins. Only a handful are known to exist, which makes every discovery headline news in the numismatic world. One lucky finder sold theirs for over $1 million. Another collector said he almost spent his in a vending machine before realizing what he had. Imagine that, almost trading $1 million coin for a bag of chips. Now here's what you need to know if you want to spot one. Take out every 1990 Lincoln penny you can find. Hold it under good light. Right beneath the year, there should be a tiny letter, usually a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But if you see nothing at all, no letter, no mark, your heart might just stop for a moment. That's the one. The 1990 no mint mark penny. But don't get too excited yet. You need to make sure it's authentic. There are fakes out there, and plenty of people have tried scratching off mint marks to fool buyers. A real 1990 no mint mark penny will have a perfectly smooth area beneath the date. Not scratched, not uneven. The surface will look flawless, as if the mint mark was never there at all. That's how you know you've got something special. And if you do, even in average condition, you could be looking at thousands of dollars. But if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, untouched, shining like the day it was made, That's when the magic happens. That's when its value shoots into the stratosphere. That's when it's worth over $1 million. Now, here's where the story gets really fascinating. Experts believe the error happened because a mint worker accidentally used a die mint for proof coins, the kind made for collectors, instead of the one mint for general circulation. Proof coins never had mint marks at the time. So, a few slipped through the cracks, into the real world, out into the pockets of unsuspecting Americans that it's almost poetic. A simple coin, meant to represent just 1 cent of value, suddenly transforming into a symbol of luck, mystery, and fortune. It makes you wonder how many treasures we've all overlooked in our lives, simply because we didn't take a closer look. Every now and then, stories surface of people finding rare coins in the strangest places, in couch cushions, car ashtrays, even old birthday cards. One man from Illinois said he found his rare penny while rolling up change for his grandson's college fund. He took a second look, realized there was no mint mark, sent it in for grading, and 2 months later, he was staring at a certified coin worth more than his house. If that's what makes this hobby so powerful, it's not just about collecting metal, it's about the thrill of discovery. The chance that something so small, so easily overlooked, could change your life. So if you're watching this, go grab that old coffee can full of pennies, or that jar in your kitchen drawer. Because finding a 1990 no mint Mark Lincoln penny could mean you're sitting on a hidden treasure. Every coin has a story, and sometimes, those stories are worth more than gold. Most of us don't even look at them. But imagine if just one of those coins, one that you almost tossed aside, could be the one that pays off your mortgage, funds your retirement, or lets you finally take that dream trip. That's the beauty of this coin. It's not just about money. It's about possibility. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can hold extraordinary value. And here's something that will blow your mind. The US Mint never publicly admitted how many of these coins were struck. That means there could still be more out there, waiting to be found. Maybe in circulation, maybe in your loose change, maybe in an old coin album you haven't opened in years. So take your time. Look carefully. Examine every 1990 penny you come across. If you find one without that little mint mark, handle it with care. Don't clean it, don't polish it, and don't try to fix it up. You could destroy its value. Keep it safe and have it authenticated by a trusted grading service. Because here's the truth. People are out there every single day finding coins they never thought would be worth more than a cent. And every one of those finds is a reminder that luck favors the observant. That's the thrill of coin collecting. It's not just about history, it's about adventure. Each coin is like a secret message from the past, a whisper of a moment that changed everything. And if you listen closely enough, sometimes it whispers fortune. So the next time you empty your pockets, don't overlook those pennies. Don't rush to spend them. Take a closer look. Because one small detail, the absence of a single letter, could be the difference between 1 cent and $1.5 million. Maybe today's the day you find your own piece of history. Maybe you'll be the next person to uncover a 1990 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has stunned experts and inspired collectors for years. Yes, one small copper-colored coin hiding in plain sight could turn an average person into a millionaire overnight. Now, before you laugh and think, no way a 1993 penny is worth that much. Let me tell you a story that might just change how you look at pocket change forever. It started when a collector in Colorado, a man who'd been checking his coins since the 70s, stumbled upon something strange in his loose change. He noticed a 1993 D Lincoln penny that didn't quite look right. The color was slightly different. The surface had a strange shine, and when he held it next to a regular penny, it weighed just a little more. What he didn't realize at that moment was that he had just discovered one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln pennies ever struck. Every year, the US Mint produces billions of coins. They roll off massive presses, one after another, but sometimes, just sometimes, something goes wrong. A minting error, a wrong metal planchet, or a double die strike can slip through unnoticed. That's where the magic happens. That's how a penny that costs less than a cent to make becomes worth millions. The 1993 D penny that sold for $1.6 million had a hidden secret. It wasn't made from the regular copper-plated zinc planchet used after 1982. It was struck on a rare bronze planchet leftover from earlier production runs, a mistake so small that only a handful of people in the world could recognize it. And yet, One man did. He brought the coin to a local dealer, who at first thought it was just a well-preserved penny. But then the dealer weighed it. A regular 1993 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. This one, it came in at 3.1 grams. That tiny difference revealed a massive truth. This wasn't an ordinary coin. It was a 1993 D Lincoln penny struck on a bronze planchet, an error worth a fortune. Now, here's where it gets exciting. That coin eventually went to auction and fetched over $1.6 million. One penny, one mistake, one life changed forever. But here's the question that keeps collectors awake at night. How many more are still out there? Let's take a minute to reset and think about your own change jar, the coin sitting in your kitchen drawer or glove compartment. Have you ever really looked closely at your 1993 D pennies? You might have handled one of these rare coins without even knowing to identify one. You'll want to start with a simple test, the weight. Get yourself a small digital scale that measures grams accurately. If your 1993 D penny weighs 3.1 grams instead of 2.5, your heart should start racing, because you might be looking at something extraordinary. Next, look at the color. The genuine bronze pennies tend to have a deeper, reddish-brown hue. They age differently from the copper-plated zinc coins, often showing smoother wear and a richer tone. If you notice your penny has that older, warmer color and the weight matches, you could be holding one of the most valuable coins in the Lincoln series. Now, let's talk about the D Mint mark. That little letter under the date stands for Denver, one of the U.S. Mint's busiest facilities. The fact that this error came from such a massive production center makes it even more shocking. Billions of coins came from Denver that year, but only a microscopic fraction, maybe only one or two, were made with the wrong metal. Imagine how easy it would have been for that coin to go unnoticed. It could have been used to buy a cup of coffee in 1993. It could have passed through hundreds of hands before ending up in someone's collection box. It's a reminder that treasures often hide in the most ordinary places. Here's something else collectors love about this coin. It connects two eras of U.S. coinage. It bridges the gap between the old copper pennies and the modern zinc ones. It's a piece of transition, a time capsule of American minting history. And when history, rarity, and error combine, you get a coin that breaks records and makes millionaires. Let's reset again. Imagine you're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through your spare change just for fun. Suddenly, you notice one penny looks different. You pick it up. It feels heavier. You put it on the scale, 3.1 grams. Your pulse quickens. You turn it over, see the D under the date, and you realize this could be it. That's the moment collectors live for, the thrill of discovery. If you think you've found one, never clean the coin. That can destroy its value. Instead, store it safely and take it to a professional coin dealer or send it for grading. The professionals at grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm authenticity, and once verified, you could be holding a penny that's literally worth over $1 million. Now, think about this. The person who discovered that $1.6 million penny wasn't a professional dealer. He was an everyday person who just paid attention. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It rewards patience, curiosity, and a bit of luck. 1 minute, you're emptying your pockets. The next, you're looking at a coin that could buy a house, pay off debts, or set up your retirement. It's not just about the money. It's about the story, the chase, the thrill of knowing you spotted what millions of others missed. Some people spend their whole lives chasing rare coins. Others stumble upon them by pure accident. Either way, every coin tells a story. And this one, the 1993 D Lincoln penny, tells one of the most unbelievable stories in modern coin history. Even now, collectors and treasure hunters are combing through old rolls of pennies, hoping to catch that flash of bronze among the sea of copper-plated zinc. Somewhere, sitting unnoticed in an old jar or a forgotten wallet, another $1 million penny might be waiting to be found. And here's the real twist. Coins like this keep showing up. Every few years, a new discovery shocks the collecting world. It reminds everyone that the next life-changing find could happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. So, before you dismiss that handful of pennies as worthless pocket change, take a closer look. Flip them over, check the date, feel the weight. You never know when history will land in the palm of your hand, because one of those 1993 D Lincoln pennies could be the one. The same type of coin that made headlines, changed lives, and proved that even the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. But this 1984 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, could be worth $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny that could make you a millionaire. Now, before you roll your eyes, thinking it's just another coin story, listen closely. Because this isn't a fantasy. This is a story about how one tiny minting mistake turned a 1-cent coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And if you've got jars or drawers full of old pennies sitting around, your luck might be closer than you think. Back in 1984, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was producing billions of Lincoln pennies. They were common, routine, nothing special. But something unusual happened that year. A few coins slipped through the minting process with a major flaw that no one noticed at first. It wasn't until years later that collectors began whispering about a strange error, one that could only be seen if you looked closely at Lincoln's face. Take a deep breath, because here's where it gets interesting. On the 1984 penny, right below Lincoln's ear, there's a mysterious second earlobe. It's faint, subtle, like a shadow in metal. But that doubled image wasn't a trick of the light. It was a genuine minting error, a rare double die that occurred when the die, the stamp that strikes each coin, pressed the design slightly off-center, twice. Most pennies came out perfect, but a handful didn't. And those rare mistakes, are now worth more than luxury cars, more than homes, even more than most people's retirement savings. One of them sold for a staggering $1.7 million. Think about that for a moment. Someone once paid a life-changing fortune for a coin that originally cost 1 cent. Now here's where it gets emotional. Imagine the person who first found one. Maybe it was a young collector flipping through a handful of old coins. Maybe it was someone cleaning out their father's desk, running their thumb over the date, 1984, and pausing just long enough to notice something odd. That moment of curiosity, that decision to take a closer look, changed their entire life. If you've ever felt like the world hides opportunities right under your nose, this is proof. Because that's exactly what these coins are, tiny pieces of history carrying untold value, waiting quietly to be discovered. Every year, millions of Americans spend their lives chasing wealth, working long hours, trying to build security. Yet sometimes, that miracle is already sitting at home, hiding in a jar of spare change. It's not luck, it's awareness. Knowing what to look for. And that's what we're going to uncover right now. Grab a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera. Take out your 1984 pennies, especially those without a mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use mint marks that year, so your coin will just show the date, 1984, with no tiny letter beneath it. Hold it under the light and look closely at Lincoln's neck and jawline. Focus on his ear. If you see what looks like a faint extra lobe, a double curve right beneath his ear, you could be holding something extraordinary. Now, attention reset, because this is where people make mistakes. Some coins look doubled because of wear or scratches. That's not the one you want. The real 1984 double die penny has a clearly visible second earlobe that's smooth and part of the original design, not etched or damaged. Under magnification, it should look natural, not like a gouge, and the color doesn't matter. Whether your penny is bright red, brown, or somewhere in between, the error remains the same. The value comes from the rarity of that double earlobe, not the shine. Collectors have been hunting for this coin for decades. Dealers pay serious money for verified examples, especially in pristine condition. If yours looks good, minimal scratches, clear features, and strong luster, it could be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands. And in the rarest, best-preserved cases, that's where the million-dollar mark comes in. Now pause for a moment and think about this. One small error, one microscopic difference in a coin design, turns something disposable into something legendary. Isn't that a little like life? Sometimes the flaws, the imperfections, are what makes something priceless. Let's bring that closer to home. Remember that old coin jar in your kitchen, the one that's been collecting dust since the 90s? Or that box of coins you inherited from your grandfather, the one you swore you'd sort through someday? That someday could be today. I'll tell you a story. A man in Ohio, just like you, decided to check his old pennies after watching a video about rare coins. He almost gave up halfway through. His eyes were tired, and every penny looked the same. But then he spotted it, that faint double earlobe. He had it graded by a professional service, and months later, he sold it for life-changing money. That single penny paid off his mortgage. So don't dismiss the small stuff. Wealth often hides in plain sight. Now, here's another attention reset, because this part matters. If you think you found one, don't clean it. I repeat, do not clean it. Cleaning coins can ruin their value instantly. Instead, handle it gently by the edges, place it in a protective holder, and get it verified by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and assign it a grade. That grade determines its final value. And that's how you turn a penny into $1 million asset. That's something so ordinary, something we pass over every day, could hold the power to change your future. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a hunt. A treasure hunt where history meets possibility. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story ends with financial freedom. So next time you find a 1984 penny, don't just toss it into a drawer or vending machine. Take a moment. Look closely. You might just see that extra earlobe staring back at you. And if you do, your life could change in ways you never imagined. Yes, you heard that right. $1.8 million for a single 1977 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now, before you think this is some wild rumor or internet myth, stay with me. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just another coin story. It's a mystery that's been quietly brewing for decades, hidden right under America's nose. Back in 1977, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies. These were ordinary copper coins, the kind we all use to toss into jars, glove boxes, and parking meters. But among those billions, a few slipped through the cracks, pennies that never should have existed. No mint mark, no clear trace of where they were made. Just a small, smooth surface under Lincoln's date that holds the key to a fortune. Now here's where the story takes a turn. Normally, pennies made in Philadelphia in 1977 didn't have a mint mark. That part's true. But what sets this coin apart is its composition, its sharpness, and an almost perfect strike that makes collectors' hearts skip a beat. These coins are part of an extremely limited batch where the copper purity and die alignment created something almost artistic. A flawless 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny. And that perfection, my friends, is what makes it worth a fortune. Picture this. A man from Ohio was sorting through an old coffee can filled with change, the kind we all have somewhere in our homes. As he flipped through them one by one, something caught his eye. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't brand new. But the color, the detail on Lincoln's coat, and the missing mint mark, it made him pause. He sent it for grading, just to satisfy his curiosity. Weeks later, he got a call that changed his life. That simple penny, the one that sat in his kitchen for years, was valued at over $1 million. It sounds like a dream, but it's real. These coins are the quiet legends of numismatics, the treasures that keep collectors hunting, searching, and hoping. Now, let's slow down and talk about how to spot one yourself. Because if you've got a jar of old pennies, you might be sitting on something incredible. Start with the basics. Look for the date, 1977. Right below that date, you should not see any letter. No D, no S. Just the year, perfectly clean. That's your first clue. Next, take a closer look under good lighting. A genuine 1977 no mint mark penny worth serious money will often have a rich copper tone, not the dull brown of modern zinc coins. Flip it over and inspect the Lincoln Memorial. The details should be sharp, the lines crisp, and the steps clearly visible. This kind of sharpness means the coin was struck early with fresh dies. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Some of these valuable 1977 no mint mark pennies have minor die variations, slightly doubled letters in God We Trust, or Liberty. Those tiny imperfections can add tens of thousands of dollars to the price. If you see any doubling, especially under magnification, do not ignore it. That small difference could mean the gap between a regular penny and a life-changing discovery. Take a deep breath and imagine this. You're sitting at your table, a magnifying glass in hand, sorting through a pile of pennies. You spot a 1977 with no mint mark. Your heart starts racing. You check the details, the luster, the strike, the lettering. And suddenly, you realize you might be holding something worth more than your car, maybe even your house. That it's stories like these that fuel collectors across America. Because every coin tells a story, and some tell a story worth $1 million. Now, here's a little secret most people don't know. The U.S. Mint was switching over its production methods during the 1970s, and certain years, especially 1977, had unusual die usage. That means some coins were struck with extra precision or on slightly different planchets. Those subtle changes created the kind of rarity we're talking about today. Sky high. Collectors are obsessed with these because they're nearly impossible to find in perfect condition. A pristine, uncirculated 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny graded at the highest level can easily command over $1.8 million at private auction. Think about that. A coin that used to buy a stick of gum could now buy you a luxury home, a new car, and still leave you with enough money to retire comfortably. That's the power of rarity, the magic of history preserved in copper. No mint mark under the date, a clean surface with minimal wear, strong strike details, and that classic copper color. Weigh it if you can. It should come in around 3.11 grams. If it's much lighter, it might be a modern zinc coin, which won't have the same value. And don't clean it. I can't stress this enough. Cleaning a valuable coin can destroy its collector value instantly. Leave it as it is and get it graded professionally. Grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm authenticity and grade, which is the key to unlocking its true market value. Collectors love this coin not only because it's rare, but because it represents a moment in American history, a time when our change was still made from real copper, when every cent had weight, and when nobody imagined a simple penny could one day make someone a millionaire. The idea that a coin so small, so ordinary, could carry such an extraordinary secret. So tonight, maybe after this video ends, go grab that jar of coins from your drawer, the one that's been sitting there for years. Pour them out and look closely, because maybe, just maybe, your fortune isn't in a stock portfolio or a lottery ticket. Maybe it's in the smallest, humblest coin you've had all along, the thrill of discovery, the chase for that one rare find. That's what keeps collectors alive with passion. Each coin is a chance, a tiny piece of American history waiting to be rediscovered. Imagine telling your family that you found a penny worth more than $1 million. Imagine holding it up to the light, knowing that history, luck, and curiosity brought you a treasure that few people will ever touch. So before you spend another penny without looking, stop. Check the date. Look for that missing mint mark. Feel the weight of possibility. Because one day, that small copper coin might be your ticket to a new life. But what if I told you that one of those plain old pennies, one from 1987 with no mint mark, could be worth over $1 million? That's right. A coin you've probably spent 100 times in your life could secretly be a millionaire's ticket hiding in plain sight. Now, before you think this sounds like another coin collector's tall tale, listen carefully. Because this story isn't just about copper and zinc. It's about mystery, mistakes, and the kind of luck that can change your life in an instant. It all begins back in 1987. Ronald Reagan was president, gas was under $1, and the Lincoln penny was as common as dirt. But something happened that year at the U.S. Mint. Something subtle, something no one noticed right away. Amid the billions of pennies struck for circulation, a few coins left the presses missing a tiny but critical mark, the mint mark. But here's where it gets strange. The 1987 no mint mark penny isn't just any Philadelphia strike. Some of these coins were produced with an unusual die variation, a misalignment, a double strike, or even traces of San Francisco-proof die characteristics that never should have been used on circulation coins. Collectors started whispering about them in the early 2000s, when one surfaced in near-perfect condition. The coin looked ordinary, but under magnification, it revealed the truth, a combination of die features and metal composition that didn't match regular 1987 cents. Experts confirmed it was a genuine U.S. Mint error. That penny later sold in a private auction for just under $1 million. Think about that. A 1-cent coin turning into $1 million treasure. It sounds unbelievable, but these things happen more often than people realize. The U.S. Mint has produced billions of coins, and every once in a while, something slips through. Now, let's talk about how you can tell if the penny in your hand might be one of these rare treasures. First, grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look carefully at the area just under the date, where you'd normally see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. If there's absolutely no mint mark, that's your starting clue. But here's the key. Check the edges of the coin for sharp, clean details. These rare 1987 no mint mark errors often have unusually strong strikes, deeper details in Lincoln's coat, beard, and the lettering around "In God We Trust." Next, look for subtle doubling. That means you might see faint shadows or ghost-like outlines on letters like Liberty or the date itself. This can be a sign of a double die error, and if your penny shows that, you might be holding something extraordinary. Now here's another secret. The color of the coin matters. Most 1987 pennies were made of copper-plated zinc, giving them a certain bright red tone when uncirculated. But a few of these rare ones were struck on leftover copper planchets from earlier years, 95% copper instead of zinc. If your penny feels slightly heavier, about 3.11 grams instead of 2.5, that's a red flag worth celebrating. Because those copper strikes can push the value well into 6 or even 7 figures. Imagine finding one of those in your old change jar. Just picture it. You dig through a pile of pennies, your fingers turning a little dirty, and suddenly there it is. A 1987 penny that feels just a bit heavier, a bit richer in color. You check it, and no mint mark. Stories have surfaced over the years. A man in Ohio who found one while cleaning out his father's desk. A woman in California who discovered hers at a yard sale. Even a teenager who pulled one out of a coin roll he bought for fun. Each one started with the same disbelief, until they had their coin appraised and learned they were holding something life-changing. Now let's reset for a moment, because this isn't just about luck. It's about awareness. You see, most people never bother to check. They spend rare coins every single day without even realizing what they're holding. But if you slow down, pay attention, and learn the small details, you give yourself a real shot at finding one of these hidden treasures. Think about it. The 1987 penny is nearly 40 years old now. Millions are still floating around in circulation, tucked into piggy banks, jars, glove compartments, and junk drawers across the country. Most of them are worth 1 cent. But a handful are worth enough to buy a house, retire comfortably, or completely change someone's financial future. Let's go a bit deeper. On a genuine rare 1987 no mint mark error, the rim of the coin, that raised edge, is often slightly thicker than usual, with an uneven slope. Under light, the shine looks different, more like the reflective finish of proof coins rather than the dull luster of circulation strikes. That's because the die used may have been repurposed from a proof run, which makes it one of the rarest combinations in modern coinage. And here's something else to keep in mind. If you ever find a 1987 penny with no mint mark that looks sharper and smoother than normal, don't clean it. I repeat, don't touch it with polish, water, or cloth. Cleaning it will destroy its collector value instantly. Just put it in a soft holder and have it evaluated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. That small step could be the difference between a curiosity and a million-dollar discovery. But consider this. The 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, the 1969 S double die, all were once dismissed as myths until the truth came out. Each of those coins sold for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. The 1987 no mint mark error stands right alongside them, just waiting for the next lucky finder to come forward. What makes this story truly powerful is that it reminds us all of something deeper. It's not just about money, it's about possibility. About how something small, forgotten, overlooked, can turn out to be the key to something life-changing. It's the perfect symbol of hope hiding in plain sight. Maybe tonight, when you get home, you'll dump out that old jar of change. You'll start flipping through the pennies one by one, your heart beating faster with each coin. You might not find it right away, but every coin you check brings you closer to the discovery of a lifetime.